in one place at a time. There we are.
We're here.
I think we're live on both. And we don't need to do that whole technical thing of, oh, we're just waiting for them to come in.
Just wait
and then
and
technology
We're
fails.
actually together in person for a chat. Hi. Hi. So why did we decide to do this little live podcast, whatever we're going to create into it, really about wellness?
But I think we both watched apple cider vinegar on Netflix, and we were messaging each other going, oh my god. And I definitely find it really difficult in this wellness world to sell things because there are so many people selling the miracle cure hack / snake oil / whatever. And we were having this really good conversation. We're like, oh, this really annoys me. Oh, this, and then we had a list. So
Which is growing.
Which is growing. And we thought we would have a conversation about.
Yeah. And I think it's not a case of, slagging it off, because I definitely did the same thing. I definitely looked for the next thing to fix me. When I was diagnosed, I was really young and I just wanted this out of me. Why am I struggling with this disease and everyone else is so happy? Like 17, 18, 19, when all your mates are going out till 4 in the morning eating McDonald's and smoking, and you're like, laying on the bed with like chronic fatigue. So it isn't about that, but it's really about recognising that wellness doesn't come with just the one thing. And I think the thing that, my perception definitely of wellness is if you don't deal with what's underneath, if you don't deal with the actual root of the issue, then I put something on my stories the other day, which was like, if you're sleeping less than 5 hours every night consistently, you're feeling tired and you're only pooing like, some people said they only ever poo once a week and that's normal for them. That's really not normal. But less than once a day, then nothing's going to fix that. Your body is asking for help, and I don't like to use the word crisis, but it kind of is. If you're not releasing naturally, really 3 times a day is better.
It's optimal, isn't it?
We've got a little visitor. So it was really about, for me, it's always about uncovering what's underneath the issues that you're struggling with, because that's been what I've had to do, and kind of shortening the journey for other people that are like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the other, and also sometimes doing them all at the same time, you don't really know what's working either.
Or what's aggravating you.
Exactly.
I mean, I came to this later in life than you. I was already in health and fitness thing, but you're just sitting there having less than 5 nights of sleep, 5 hours of sleep. That was me, because I was fit and healthy and buzzing and living life to the max. I don't know if I was going to the toilet every day because I wasn't paying attention.
Exactly.
Not paying attention, eating on the run. Chronically stressed because I was over-exercising all the time. Everything I was doing was high intensity. It wasn't fueling myself properly from it. Even though the foods that I was eating you would class as healthy foods. There was a long period of time where there was alcohol involved, but that came out 2 years before I got sick. But then there was still all the other habits, and then there's all the things that you don't deal with. Like, went through the divorce, I got on my spin bike and taught more classes, so I didn't have to feel the emotion. Because that's a distraction. And all of those things, and it's only been over the last probably 4 or 5 years of this 8-year section of my journey that I'm like, right, no, I need to peel back more rather than add more things in. Because I was snake oil.
I would do everything.
Here's the magic pill. Here's this one thing that I must be missing, and then you go on, and then learning the hard way. You go, oh, actually, it's not just one thing; it's this collective. So you need to then bring a collective of things in.
Absolutely. And I think, my lifestyle was very much, the illness always brought me back to stop. That was the message, like, just please stop, because this constant on the go is avoidance. You're literally avoiding your emotions, your feelings, the stress, all the anxiety, and then you're waking up in the middle of the night, and then you're using alcohol to get yourself to sleep. That's not helping. And it's just this splurge and purge mentality. So I would be just writing about it at the moment, this week long of I'm on it, I'm up at 5, and then the weekend, completely down it and probably having a couple of smokes as well, and then going back and feeling guilty about that as well because I hadn't stuck to the rules. And it's a mental, emotional, even spiritual to some, and that kind of connection to your body again. And that's definitely been the journey. It's got to a point now that I'm 50 where it's like I can ease through some of the healing stuff that comes in. I just had a cold recently and there was some emotion behind that, and it's recognising I can be soft there where I wasn't before. That using some of the wellness things as a stick to beat myself, that was always the best.
Oh, look at all the things I did wrong, therefore I'm now sick, so now I have to double down on all that wellness stuff. And which
triggers the doubling down on the weekend. And that, I mean, I can only say this because it's been true for me, and it's not. I'm not shaming or blaming anyone, but what I hear a lot of is, has anyone got anything for anxiety? And it's like, well, anxiety also isn't an emotion; it's a state. So what's creating that state, that consistent chronicity of that state? What's underneath it? That's really the root cause. If you're that anxious all the time, where it's stopping you doing something, what is it telling you? And a dose of magnesium and an ice bath is not gonna help.
Not gonna help.
And coming on to kind of cold water, that's really what we were going to discuss today. It's definitely something I've experienced. It was something during COVID that I got quite into, but it was a very hot summer, so that helped. And I love it. I still have a cold shower every now and again. I love swimming in nature, and that's really what it was for me. Was getting over the cold was more about I really want to be in that water. I can see the connection that's coming to it. If I get to the side of a loch or the sea and my body goes, oh no, not today, then I really listen to that. I have done ice baths. I hate them. They really scare me. But I've done them, and I've experienced that euphoria afterwards and that shaking and stuff, and it's great. But every day, even every week for me, we're obviously as women cyclical, and that obviously, we really need to listen to that. And I think that's coming through more and more, the knowledge of the cyclical nature of women and how this kind of thing can really put your body in shock.
Yes.
And so when it goes into shock and then finally comes back to a state which is normal, my chronically dysregulated system that was normal for me, it wants to reach out for that catharsis again.
Yeah.
What's been your experience, Jenna?
So I have tried to use cold water therapy to help reduce inflammation, because that's one of the cited benefits of it. And I would go into the cold water and I would stay until I was like, let's just get out now. It's like you start to feel a bit of pain. I wouldn't even let myself stay in until I was that proper shivery way, because I was like, I'm not sure. It was just something in me going, I'm not sure about that. So I would come out, and then I would always have hot water bottle, hot drink, layers to put on, hat,
warm up gently.
Just to try and really get in. But for me, what I realised was going to the loch, sitting at the side of the loch with whoever I was there with, having a chat and grounding myself, and the water was just something,
minor part of it,
something that we did because you felt like that's the thing that you were there to do. And it's only been more recently when I've been looking more into the cold water and the potential negatives for it. I'm like, it was never about getting in the cold water because I can't do a shower. I'm like, this is fucking torture.
I can't do it every day.
Stabbing you with needles. And I never felt relaxed from doing it. I always felt stimulated, and for me, I'm already stimulated, and I need to find things that help me calm down and help soothe me, and that never soothed me. A warm bath, cuddling in with my hot water bottle, that makes me feel soothed. And then when I started seeing people talking about the negatives of it, especially for women on their cycle, I was like, that makes so much sense. My thing was like, more pain, give me more pain. Like, I need to beat myself up. This strong inner voice of like, you need to do more, be more, purge more, do. And that comes from that not really wanting to address what was there. And it's taken probably a lifetime of kind of, actually I've had more connection in those really gentle moments at the side of the loch, or in restorative yoga, or in
you know, just different situations in nature that feel softer, gentle, more connected. And I think, you know, there is space for ice baths and stuff like that, but I just think it's understanding your nervous system underneath it. And if you're already chronically dysregulated, then you know it's gonna make you feel better because it's literally livening you up. And I think for me, my addiction was stress. Like, give me more. Please give me more work. Give me more things to smoke and agitate my system because sitting in safety was the most uncomfortable thing. So give me a bit of science around what you learn about the cyclical nature of cold water.
So one of my friends, and this is before I started hearing other people talk about it, one of my friends was going to do the 30-day challenge, got one of the tubs for a garden, and she went in the tub, and I messaged her and I was like, how did you find that, doing it every 30 days? And she went, it was really interesting, my hormones were all over the place.
Wow.
I know she has underlying hormonal stuff, endometriosis, the other one.
Addison?
No, the other is like endometriosis, where it's the uterus lining gets really thick. It's adenomyosis or something like that. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Really painful periods. And she was like, it got so much worse during that time. Now, if you're doing something that they're telling you reduces inflammation, that should get better. And then I saw somebody else who's a PhD in women's health, doing like women's health stuff, and she was talking about, if you have really painful periods, then you probably got a cold uterus. And the best thing that you can do in the week leading up to your period is keep it warm. Hot water bottles, warm baths to help soothe, because when your uterus is contracting, you go into cold water, what do? You contract to try and generate heat.
And I think this is the problem, you know, this nervous system, it needs to contract and expand, but if it's constantly...
If you're contracted and then
you're contracting more, and this capacity to move, I mean, that's really where I was. Everything was like that, you know, and then you go in and that's just making it worse. And in actual fact, I need to be careful, because I mean, my fingers go white in the middle, do you know what I mean? And it's got better, you know, the cold water's helped it to an extent, but I had an ablation, do you know what I mean? Heart issues, and you think, you know, if you've got a background of autoimmune, you know, possibly there's a hint of Raynaud's that you don't really know about. There's really been research about Raynaud's and scleroderma. Scleroderma is not nice, you know that. Once you've got it, it's very difficult to kind of treat. So it's just knowing about your own body before you do it, I think. Really
and listening to how it responds, and for women, knowing where you are in your cycle. Now, postmenopausal women, loads of postmenopausal women are drawn to doing wild swimming and wild water, but they're not in that same cycle. There has been very small amounts of research done, but the research that has been done on men or postmenopausal women, because the female hormone cycle interrupts science. And the thing is, if I went into water in the winter, I would always take my wetsuit and my gloves and then I think, then I can connect without. Do you know what I mean? But even if I was out in cold water, it'd be a minute back out. Do you know what I mean? It was just to feel that connection, and then. But actually, you can get that from, you know, meditating by the side, or just sitting with the peace at the side of the lock. It's sometimes eerily still out there. So. And I think, and like some of the other benefits that you see, like when I think about what I get a benefit, I always go with somebody else. I'm actually getting it's the community and connection. And when you see the big groups of people that go out and do it, or the clubs where you come along and do the ice bath, you're coming along to do that with other people, so you're probably getting so much more from the community and connection than you are from going into the water. If people have got a health condition, a heart condition, and they might not even know if you've got high blood pressure, you don't know unless you happen to have been in the doctors and they've taken it. You go in the water, that's pushing your blood pressure up, you could have a heart attack and die. That's a reality. I think it's just because it's so accessible, and obviously during COVID it became a real thing for reducing stress and connecting to nature, and I think that's a really important thing to do. But you know, these big releases that I had, and I can only speak, you know, personally, but these big releases I had, I would then have something emotional come up later that I really struggled to deal with because my system wasn't able to feel safe enough to hold it. So it's an interesting subject to explore. Definitely. The other thing that you see as well is this egotistical, how long did you stay in for? I've never really been that. And that some people are going in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, potential of hypothermia, potential of cold water shock. if you have cold water shock, you can't even raise your arms to call for help. Your body paralyses and you sink.
And I have, been in swimming groups and spoken to women that have been in and swam and pushed themselves too far, and they've had after drop. And it's not fun. It's not funny, and it'll take your body ages to get over that. You might get over that initial thing. Your body's in a stress response.
Yeah.
So I'm not so sciencey, but
if you've gone too far and you're at the sides of the water afterwards, shivering, but it feels like uncontrollable. It's not just that, I need to keep warm up. It's that uncontrollable. Then you have gone way too far.
Yeah.
And that's potentially dangerous, because if you're by yourself and you've done that and you haven't been listening to your body signals to say get out of the water, you might not make it.
It's tricky because it is, things are so good for you as well, and there's obviously scientific research that it is good for you, but I think it's again that unique journey of wellness and what works for one person, and obviously a lot of men get some really good but their bodies are so different to ours. They hold more muscle, more brown fat, that kind of thing. They're able to, so it's just really recognising that what one person does that's really beneficial for them. They haven't lived your life, and that's really why I tailor a lot of the stuff that I do, because it's based on a structure, but everyone is different, and whatever comes up for people is very different. And I think that's really incredibly important to get a handle on. Because I would just go along with the crowd and
community. Because then when you look at the studies have all been really small. Being 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, and if you look at any medical study, they'll start with those small numbers and gradually build it up. Even after they've done a stage 3 trial, you've maybe had 40,000, 50,000 people in it. Stage 4 is when it goes to general public, and you're still gathering data, and then you can then go, oh shit, this is on a grand scale, this is not actually good, we need to pull it back, whereas those things might not have presented in the smaller scales. And because there is not a lot of evidence, and it's a lot of the time it's anecdotal, oh my pal does this and they feel great, they're not looking at the actual papers, like how many people were in that study, what happens when you start to put it out onto Twitter, what happens when it's different genders, different age groups.
And I think it is important to have those kind of studies done on everything, really. I know with the immune therapy that I work with, they're constantly trying to find evidence to build on, not just experiential stuff, because not one thing is going to work for everyone, even though it's beneficial. And mine's been a whole saga of mistakes and putting myself back, and I know it's been the same for you, but I think that's really where we want to go from, is that point of just experience of don't do what we did.
Because we have mistakes and have lived to tell the tale,
Absolutely.
thankfully.
Absolutely. Very healthy now, but is there anything else you feel like you want to cover, Jen, before we sign off?
I think it's really, you need to listen to your body before you do the thing, because your body will send the signals going absolutely yes or no, I'm not sure. And it's important to notice when you're in a group of people, are you following the crowd? And
there's euphoria in that, isn't there? And the need not to be like, the one that stands out or the one that's on the side of the water. And it's the same, I think, with plant medicine ceremonies. I know a lot of people have experienced that, where they're like completely messed up, but everyone else is okay, and it's that need
and then
to kind
you're
of
the one that's wrong. Because I remember I was on, I think when I did my NLP master practitioner training, one of the things that they were doing was a glass walk. So there was broken glass and you'd walk across it, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And everybody thought that I didn't want to do it because I was scared, and I was like, I'm not scared, I'm actually more scared of saying no, I don't want to do that. This is my glass walk by not following everybody else.
Because this is what I need to experience myself.
And I was just like, there's nothing in me, like I've done firewalks.
Looking at the fear and recognising it for what it is and working through it in your own body, mind.
Being comfortable with saying, actually, this is not for me today.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. And it could be where you are in your cycle, it could just be
anything. It's got a visitor at the moment. So.
It could be so many things. And we've got this workshop coming up in June, and we're talking about this sort of stuff. We're going to talk about the 6 pillars, how you can look at where you're at, and then how to address the bits that are missing, to try and stop you chasing the magic pill.
And to give you some sense of, you know, inner strength where you can say, look, I'm even though I plan that today, I'm not really feeling it at the moment.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's okay.
And that's okay.
And you're
it's
not a
nice to-
failure.
Yeah, you're not a
Yeah.
failure for not doing the 10 minutes or whatever it be, breath work or even yoga, you know, Kundalini that I taught, it's very sometimes overriding what's good for you, and it's like sometimes it's actually not.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm very aware that within, sorry about that, the integration, and I use a lot more deep relaxation techniques when I teach Kundalini yoga, and I really base it on where it can be beneficial with stress, sleep, because then it's a directed focus of what are we dealing with, what's going on for me, what's underneath, and how can I address it in a whole way rather than just that one big breath or, you know, big walk or whatever. So yeah, and that's really what we want to cover in a lot of these discussions, so that we can take our terrible experiences and ensure that you don't have them.
You learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, and obviously Daisy wants to let you know too, so
Yeah, she's definitely
having a little word there, aren't you?
Yeah, she's like, where is the babushka doll? I used to hit this off here.
Yeah, she's looking for my dolls to like knock off.
So, if you have heard something in here that you think really resonates for somebody else that maybe hasn't heard this, please do share. If you can if you can make sure that you're following.
Yeah, and let us know what you think underneath. You know, do you agree, disagree? We're happy to kind of.
What's your experience
Yeah.
as well?
And we just want to open up a conversation of like what's working for everybody. Is this okay? Instead of just taking it from a guru, because I'm certainly no guru, and I know you're
Definitely not.
But it's that kind of just opening up the discussion a little bit more,
Yeah.
and I think that's really important.
Yeah. And it can be easy to get sucked in, and there is a guru there telling you.
Oh, I've been sucked in more times than you can count.
Yeah. And then you go, what am I doing?
Actually, that's not quite right.
How have I ended up in this cult?
So thank you, but yeah, if you want to drop a comment or let us know or DM us or whatever, just let us know, and we're happy to have a chat to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye. Come on.